Sab who? Sab why? Sab where? This weekend, in the corner of Adam Cole against Chris Jericho in an unsanctioned match at AEW Double or Nothing. I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen DAD. Welcome to the WrestleTalk review podcast of last night's AEW Dynamite, the go-home show to Double or Nothing. If you haven't already, please press the subscribe button. Press the thumbs up button. Give us a comment down below with what you thought of the episode and send in those OmegaChats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one of them over $5 before the end of the show. And our main talking point is ECW original Sabu, the homicidal, genocidal, death-defying.
Homicidal, genocidal, death-defying Sabu, yeah.
Sabu, who has just been added seamlessly into the Chris Jericho Adam Cole feud over Saraya beating up Britt Baker.
Yeah. Dude, he's suicidal, he's homicidal, he's genocidal, he's from Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, it's in all the intros.
So, I thought this was an excellent contract signing segment.
Okay.
I really, really enjoyed it. I thought Cole's promo was great. I thought Jericho was equally as great in this.
Just to jump in, I think Jericho's work is really, really low-key awesome here. That strand that he keeps taking, what kind of a man are you?
So
letting your wife, like your girlfriend, get beaten up like that.
This segment, I'm actually slightly annoyed at myself. The death-defying was the WWE version of Sabu because they didn't want to say suicidal. They said he was homicidal, he's genocidal.
Course, yes.
Homicidal's fine, but don't say
genocidal.
Yeah,
pretty big.
but don't say suicide. The kids might get ideas.
It really escalates.
So death-defying Sabu. So in this segment, Jericho rolls the clip of them beating up Britt Baker. So in this segment, they said they are not going to touch each other. And if they do, the match is going to be thrown off and all this, that, and the other. So Jericho rolls that clip again, and he's like, "You are unbelievable. I've just shown you what happened to your girlfriend, and you're still not touching me. You're a coward."
Yeah.
I thought it was really great stuff.
And Cole's babyface promo before then was like, it's pretty strong worded, I'd say. He said he's going to break his legs, going to break his fingers. It's always difficult when you say stuff like that, and it's difficult to really credibly follow through on things.
It is difficult when you're saying, I'm going to break your legs so you can't walk. I'm going to break your hands because you can't sign things. And I'm going to do that with a Panama sunrise.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's why he's got Sabu.
Oh, going to do it off the triple jump.
Yeah.
Triple jump Panama sunrise.
Yeah. This was a good segment. I like the storyline. It hasn't got to that level of just overbooked Jericho-ness yet. Oh, there's still time. But one of the things I liked about it was how intimate and blood-feudy it was. That's why it's an unsanctioned match. AEW think this has gone too far. So it won't say, we're going to let our referee officiate your violence. Granted, that pulls up some contradictions in company policy for the Anarchy in Arena match, which I would say has been far more dangerous.
Screwdrivers are involved.
But I don't mind. I don't mind that. The addition of Sabu really is a shoe. I popped for Sabu.
Yeah.
I'm weirdly happy he's there, but this is undeniably shoehorned in and makes no sense.
Okay, so I agree, but I think here is the reason why. I think we also need to address the slight elephant in the room. I'm also now questioning myself over whether that was the WWE version or whether it was the ECW version. The comments will correct me. It's fine, and I'm glad that they will.
Are you okay?
No, I'm all lost. And also the other thing that we do need to discuss, and you and I have had this before when we have reviewed old pay-per-views on WrestleTalk Extra, is you say Sabu.
Oh,
when his name is Sabu.
Sorry,
but I also, that's just how I've always said it. I don't know if you're actually correct.
Sabu.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Sabu.
Yeah. Sabu.
Is this like that Hyundai situation?
Garage.
Schedule. But okay, so I said this in the office today because Tempest was like, why is Sabu part of this match? And I said, well, he's from the local area, and Tony Khan likes to sort of like celebrate professional wrestling history by giving a little spotlight to people who have paved the way for others. And then I stopped and I paused and I said, oh, he's a less problematic crown prince. Do you know how like people say about the Crown Prince for like those WWE shows in Saudi Arabia were just the Crown Prince's sweet 16th birthday party, where he just got, I want this toy, I want that toy, I want this toy. And Vince would go like, well, here's all the toys, pal. And be like, I want the Yokozuna toy. He'd be like, I can't get him that one, but I could get him this knockoff Yokozuna toy, and that should appease the child. I think Tony Khan is a similar way, because AEW is just his toy box. And now he's like, and now I've got my Sabu action figure in here. And I had my Jeff Hardy action figure a couple of weeks back. And now I've got a Roderick Strong action figure that's also here.
And I own Ring of Honor. And I'm trying to recreate a part of TNA.
So he's just like...
Collision's WCW.
Well, exactly, yeah. So it's just like, I think having Sabu there is just part of like, he has got a rich tapestry within the wrestling world. It is an unsanctioned match, which means it's going to be full of violence. It's going to be full of death-defying moves, you might say. There'll be some homicidal, suicidal, genocidal moments in there. So why not have someone who sort of personifies that style of wrestling when you can't get Abyss? So you put Sabu in that position.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
But also at the same time, it does.
I don't know what your version of sense is.
Here's the thing where it doesn't make sense, is that he's the special guest enforcer for the match.
Yes.
But Adam Cole introduced him as being in his corner. And so it feels like he is in his corner and as the special guest enforcer of the match. So that almost morally compromises Adam Cole as the babyface to have the person who can act as a referee be on his side. Like, at least when Mike Tyson was the special guest enforcer, he was with DX and he was there to, possibly screw over Austin before he just, sided with Austin instead.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Also, the terms of the unsanctioned match, if there's a special guest enforcer going to be there, Jericho and Cole would presumably have to agree on that. It's not for Cole to just change the terms of match. That doesn't work conceptually. But also, Jericho still has a numbers advantage of about 4 people.
Yeah, but 2 of those are like Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, who are no match for Sabu. Sabu carries a knife in his boots.
Yep. He also looked quite awkward when he was walking.
It's because he's not in the greatest shape in his life. Yeah. I don't think people are going to be buying tickets to go see Double Nothing and expect to see a triple jump moonsault from him.
He'll try. He always tries.
He always tries. And like every time he's tried it, there's a 70-30 chance it doesn't go right. And who knows which way that 70-30 actually swings. I think more he will just throw chairs at Menard and Parker like he did on this show. He will throw a chair at Daniel Garcia. He will throw a chair at Jake Hager. He'll then pose. The crowd will pop. Panama Sunrise, and the match continues.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. I'm happy that Sabu's there, but I don't think he fits in this. There's the Anarchy in the Arena thing. He could pop up there, but that doesn't make any storyline sense.
Oddly, I think that makes less sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think they were trying.
Weirdly, it would make more sense for him to just appear in the Team TNA storyline.
Yeah.
He's appeared in TNA before. I don't associate him with TNA.
No, but like I think they were trying to make it make sense on commentary, being like, oh well, Sabu's got history with Chris Jericho because Jericho did have a very brief spell in ECW for a bit, and I suppose Sabu had a very brief spell in WCW for a bit. They were both part of 2006.
It's clutching at straws.
Raw. Was Jericho around when Sabu was doing his stuff with Cena, when they did the ECW revival? I think they're trying.
You sound like a madman.
Yeah.
You've gone too far the other way. You're trying to just explain this.
I am explaining Tony Khan's reasoning for it. I don't think that Tony Khan's reasoning is correct on this, but I'm explaining what I think his thought process is going into having Sabu as part of this match.
We just did our prediction show. It will go live tomorrow, and we predicted, well, if Cole brought a Sabu, maybe Jericho will unveil a ECW original of his own.
And we, possibly he's also in Las Vegas, a Rob Van Dam. Maybe they thought this was going to be Rob Van Dam, but then Rob was on the draft as WWE Hall of Famer Rob Van Dam, so maybe he can't be part of this. But look, you could call in some other ECW originals. Dean Malenko is backstage. Jerry Lynn is backstage. So there's other people you could possibly bring into this from Jericho's past. Dean Malenko would almost make more sense.
It doesn't know if it makes sense. The only thing that makes sense is Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish showing up. But Kyle O'Reilly's injured and Bobby Fish has burnt every bridge with this promotion.
It does. It says a lot about Bobby Fish's standing in wrestling. The Tony Khan was like, I'd rather work with Sabu than bring back top Bobby Fish.
And Triple H is like, lads, we're good. We're good for the moment.
Yeah.
Hiring
freeze, sorry.
But yeah, so that's what we've got going in. Still excited. I thought it was good. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, it is, and it doesn't.
Shall we see what everybody's thoughts are on the OmegaChats, WrestleTalk.com/support? Get those in. We'll read out every single one over $5. Matt Hennessy says, I really love this Dynamite, and I'm excited for Double or Nothing, but Tony Khan had said previously he would never hire Hogan. Yet Sabu was on Dynamite, and he is allegedly, Matt says, I don't know about this.
This is a story. Ryan Satin brought this up. So Sabu in the past has used racial slurs and refused to apologize for it. This was back in 2016. Who knows that things might have changed within. Sabu might have actually apologized for it since, but that's not been reported. So we don't know what the status of it there. What we do know is that in 2016, he did say, I refuse to apologize for this.
Matt continues, which he never apologized for and stood by those comments. It does make Tony and AEW look bad for letting Sabu in on their show. Also, with Fightful confirming AEW going to a hard brand split with Dynamite and Collision, will you review both shows with Punk being exclusive to Collision?
We will be doing reviews for Collision. They will not be on the Sunday after the show. They will be on the Monday after the show instead. So every Monday we'll be reviewing Collision. Having said that, Meltzer has also said that Punk will be on Dynamite. If the event calls for it, he will also be on Dynamite. And I believe that is the case because champions will be floating across both brands as well. Hangman Page and Danielson have been on the branding and the advertising for Collision. So I think there is certain people that may not go across onto both shows, but I think it is going to be more floaty than, I don't think this is quite Raw and SmackDown hard lines.
What do you make of Sabu, the hiring in general? Because it's not, I didn't know about those things.
Neither did I. And, but when I found out about it, I was like, I think they were a company that often, when Brian Kendrick was going to be brought in and then people kicked off about it and then Brian Kendrick was taken off the show. Yeah, WWE took Brian Kendrick back and no one said anything. In fact, he was there quite recently doing work for them again and no one has made a peep. I think that it's less of a public thing. I think Ryan Satin is shining a light on this, which I do think is correct. So we'll see how AEW do respond to that. But for all we know, behind closed doors, there may have been a lot of bridges amended for this. It might not be anything like the Hogan situation, which was, I'm sorry I got caught.
The best apology.
And then in his interview this week said, it's a speed bump in my career. It could be a completely different scenario, but we don't know.
Thank God it's not the Wall, brother. I'm so sorry. Streamlabs has not recorded this next person's name, so do tell the moderators and we'll give you a shout out. They say, even with Sabu added and a Carl return if he's healthy again, Cole is still at a numbers disadvantage. What if RVD shows up to even the numbers? RVD did mention on Twitter in April he could show up in AEW if Tony called.
Which that corrects me on what I said earlier, that maybe it's a WWE thing. But yeah, like you do Sabu here, but then the actual reveal on the show is Rob Van Dam is also there to, do the spots that Sabu can't.
Makes absolutely no sense. BM Whitehouse 76. FTR are great when they wrestle, but I genuinely don't think they're an act meant for weekly TV, unless they wrestle every week like Cassidy. When they have promo segments, it's so flipping boring. It's ironic because they don't do flips. They should have signed with either New Japan or Impact. Well, the AEW does allow you to work New Japan, so that's kind of the same thing, signing with AEW. I think Dax is a great promo.
His fight like a girl promo.
Oh my god, yeah.
I think he's a genuine. I don't think this was his strongest promo. I agree with B and Whitehouse on that sort of thing. I don't think it almost felt like I obviously I don't know if this is for certain, but my reading of his promo was like he forgot Dixie's name and was just stalling until he was like, it's on the tip of my tongue. Dixie Carter, that's her name. And I don't think this was his best promo, but I would never say they're bad promos because I think they've done incredible promos across their time in AEW.
Louise Marie, I heard y'all are loving my gift of Quentin the Quack. Oh, was that from you to Tempest? Love all of you guys. Lou from Melbourne. Thank you very much, Lou.
Thank you very much.
Tempest hugs that little critter with delight in the office.
Does. And I also got to learn that it's a real animal because Tempest said to me, do you like my quokka? And I was like, you can't just make up words. and I don't play Pokemon. But it turns out it's a real thing.
Master Popo 12. Hey gents, year 2 of the Dynamite review, keeping me company on my 14-hour drive from Boston to Indianapolis. By the time you guys catch this, I'll be about 8 hours in, so I appreciate the company. See you guys for the Double or Nothing review on the long return drive back. We are honored to be part of your Double or Nothing tradition, Master Popo. And Harriet Mangagel Memberg for 5 months. Has been a Memberg for 5 months.
She sent a blue heart emoji, which is very nice. Thank you, Harry.
Stan G also has become a Memberg, and they said, finally caught you guys live, waving hello all the way from Georgia.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Right, let's get back into the... we just had one more from I'm Just Marcus on the Sabu issue. I'm worried about Sabu being a part of this, but not for the reasons that they want in storyline. Didn't Sabu just have medical issues recently? And he's not a young man, but then again, Sting is jumping off high things, so who knows? But thoughts?
It depends on what you have him do. Like, if you send him out there and ask him to do, like, triple jump moonsaults, then probably that is a issue. But if he's just there to stand around and throw some chairs,
light a table on fire,
but and it's not like his injuries are going to impede him throwing chairs because he threw them recklessly when he was fine. So I don't think it's going to make him any worse at throwing chairs at people with reckless abandon.
I'm more worried about everyone else around Sabu than I am Sabu.
I think a lot of people thought that in ECW as well.
When Sabu came in, Adam Cole looked worried.
And he's on your side.
When he started lobbing chairs. Right, so this review of AEW Dynamite began with Orange Cassidy defending against Kyle Fletcher. Wow.
This is the match that I was actually asking for. Like because Kyle Fletcher attacked Cassidy a couple of weeks back, and then last week, that's when they set up the Battle Royal. And I said, I kind of wish it was just a Cassidy-Fletcher singles match because those two would have an awesome match together. Lo and behold, we got it this week instead.
Yeah. And, oh my God, like Kyle Fletcher, we have been watching him for quite some time. 4 years ago, we saw one of our favorite matches live ever at the Super Strong Style against Jordan Devlin, who is now, of course, JD McDonough on the main roster. He was great then. He's great in Aussie Open from the first time we saw him, but maybe they did too many moves. He's great as a singles star 4 years ago. And then, of course, we saw him. You weren't there, but I saw Aussie Open at the New Japan show last summer. Just
the FTR feud, right?
They are so good. I didn't see that match.
Oh, that
was the previous
day.
Yeah. And then seeing him here, I'm like, oh my God, you are Will Ospreay. Like the way he moves, the intensity, the kicks, the snapping moves, the mostly neck-based bumps.
Yep.
He is Ospreay from 5 years ago.
You could say he's Will Ospreay.
You did it! You did it!
Pretty pleased with that one.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Come on, pop for that in the comments. You're not going to get anything better all weekend.
May as well end the stream there.
Play it, play it! So Cassidy kicked out of a tombstone pile driver.
Two of them, no less. One of which was a spinning one.
He didn't even get a chance to kick out of the first one. Tombstone pile driver. Carl picks him back up, hits a spinning jumping one. Cassidy kicks out of that. This was such a fun match to watch. But my God, did a part of my brain go, that's too many moves.
So, okay. if I can, I'm going to pop on my AEW defense attorney hat.
Go for it.
The story of this finish, as Taz explained, is that Carl Fletcher went to the pile driver well one too many times. Cassidy read the situation, was able to roll him up and get the win, and that's why, like, Cassidy once again surviving this match through a mistake that his opponents made. In order to do that, you have to do quite a few pile drivers. I would say don't do jumping, spinning pile drivers, and then like middle rope Michinoku drivers as well. Probably just do some standard pile drivers.
Yeah, that is exactly the story they told, and it worked, and it was really good. But it's just going to take some time for me to adjust to the tombstone pile driver being essentially a super kick.
Yeah, or a DDT.
And
in the same way that I get audiences in the 90s had to go from, like, it used to finish matches. Like, when Jake did it, it finished matches, unless you're Raven, of course, in which case it still finishes matches. But everyone now just uses DDTs as regular moves to set up for other things.
Yeah. Canadian Destroyers as well.
Canadian, that's a great example. In 2005, ain't no one kicking out of a Canadian Destroyer when P.D. Williams hits you with it. Now it is a setup move for other things.
It's like The Undertaker retiring has made it carte blanche on pile drivers. I don't love it, but I recognize this is the way the art form is going.
I hear you.
So
other things
you've got to get on board.
I completely agree. I mean, what I really liked about this match was Cassidy right at the start of this was almost like trying to stay into the corner and get the referee to sort of like block Carl, because Carl came at him really fast. So Cassidy was like, oh, I actually need some time to be able to get myself into this match, because he is burning the candle at both ends. He's got tape up his back. He's got the wrist thing as well. Like, I really like this story.
Such a good story.
And then at 2 moments in this match, he was trying to go get the count out victory. Like, he hit a move on the outside, rolled back into the ring, and he was yelling at the referee to count. And then, like, when he saw that Carl was getting back up, ran back outside, hit beach break on the outside, and then got back in the ring to be like, count him out, count him out, count him out. Love this desperate Orange Cassidy, that he's so desperate to keep hold of this title and prove that he can keep hold of this title, that he's now going to face 20 other men in a battle royal that he's going to have to beat off vigorously in order to keep hold of this belt.
Got to beat them off. Really looking forward to that match. I think it'll be very dramatic. Ricky Starks is backstage, and he said, I've had enough of Bullet Club Gold attacking me, and then Bullet Club Gold attacked him. I do enjoy Juice screaming Ricky.
Yeah, it's very Bianca, isn't it?
Yeah. But also, I think Ricky's in the Battle Royal.
Ricky is, yeah. He announced himself for the Battle Royal in this segment.
I would not put Jay White in that Battle Royal. But put Juice in there, they can both eliminate him.
I think so.
I think this feud has cooled off so much, and it wasn't hot to begin with, but that's what I can see the company doing.
Yeah.
Speaking of cooled off, pre-tape Jungle Boy interview came next, mostly talking about his commute to the pay-per-view.
It's like reading Pete Gass's autobiography.
So he talks about driving to the stadium, and this time he's going to drive back with the world title. Yeah. Then we had FTR come down into the ring saying Team TNA are smart. They've outsmarted us a bunch of times. But ultimately, they're just a bunch of rejects from TNA. They better make sure that your bitch wife has a job after the pay-per-view.
He said queen bitch.
Queen bitch. No, I'm not talking about your wife, Karen, who, of course, debuted last week. I'm talking about Dixie Carter.
Yeah. The punchline is good, you know, and I think for the AEW crowd to be like, oh, Dixie Carter.
He said a thing.
He said a thing that we know from TNA. That one of the things we hate about TNA, Dixie Carter, whoa, boo. I don't think it worked, though, because I think it took him a little while to get to the point. I was, as I said earlier, stumbling across the lines a little bit. Didn't think this was great.
Sometimes when you say a thing that you think they're banned to say, it pops me anyway. So when he said Dixie Carter, I did go, oh, Dax. But then Mark Briscoe comes down, and, you know, quite reasonably, I think, he wanted to know how Dax was able to hit a perfect pile driver. I mean, if that was me, I would have been, I'm not even angry. I'm impressed. Tell me how you did it, because you were totally blinded by alcoholic spirit.
Yeah, because Dax then was like, I was blind. I thought it was one of those Team TNA fools. And I was like, that doesn't sound like it's a possible scenario.
Yeah, but Dax decided to be too masculine and aggressively asked Mark to shake my hand and let's put it behind us.
I have apologized. Now you shake my hand. And so then Mark pushed his hand away and he was like, well, now I've got to be ultra masculine. I'm not leaving this ring until you shake my hand.
Which was, it was a bit weird, but it was fine. And Mark, I think he just walked off. And this was where I was like, this is so much fun. Because Team TNA are lining the ramp like Tyler Breeze's Brooklyn entrance, when he's got all the models in various parts of the New York skyline. That's weirdly what it made me think of. And Mark is just like, boof, boof. Oh, you're Karen Jarrett? Boof.
Karen Jarrett walks out and be like, well done, Mark. Thanks for being on our side. Push up. Then Jeff Jarrett's like, thank you, Mark. Thanks for being on our side. Slaps him as well. Walks up to Sanjay and was like, thank you, Mark. Thanks for being on our side. Off you go, Sanjay.
It is a meme. This is a GIF or a GIF, but depending on how you say it. That I will use
Sabu.
I will use that clip to describe feelings sometimes.
Yeah.
I thought it was very well done. And then he gets to the top and Jay Lethal's like, bro. And you hear Mark, really, really well delivered off mic, go, look, you're my boy, but I'm sick of this bull S word. And he storms off. Got over the story of the match.
I am concerned though that this is going to spell an end for Team TNA. Because if Lethal splits away from them, then what happens to the rest of the group?
You distill it to its purest form.
The Jeff Jarrett singles run.
It's Jeff Jarrett and Satnam Singh.
It's Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett. International title.
So we still don't know which way Mark's going to go at the pay-per-view. He's special guest referee, of course. Thought they did that effectively. Look, and I enjoyed parts of that.
Spoilers for my predictions tomorrow. I've gone for FTR to retain. There is a part of me that wants to see Team TNA win because it will make Tempest so angry and it will make Kate from Fightful so angry. And sometimes you just want to watch the world burn.
You want those tears.
I want to get those Mark tears. I'm thirsty. I need those Mark tears. Is it still there? Oh, I deleted it. I thought I still had my... Or is it... No, I haven't got it anymore.
Well. After that, we got Sammy Guevara cutting a babyface pre-tape promo backstage.
It is. I do have it there. There it is. The actual elite.
Even though nobody likes him. Then we got a new open house challenge. This is the House of Black's Trios custom match that hopefully will be available in Fight Forever. So we got that's why it took so long.
There's so many extra rules to put in.
Like the mechanic where you get to enter what your stipulation is to add to the two existing ones. So the chosen rule from the opponents was quite smart because it's AR Fox, Metalik, and Blake Christian doing effectively Lucha Libre rules, which means as soon as someone gets out the ring, someone else can get in. They didn't quite explain that well on commentary, but I picked it up quite fast.
I thought they did, because they were saying like this plays into Metalik's, and then they were really putting over his history with Lucha. I agree, though, and the only reason I don't think it worked particularly... I don't think it translated into the match would be my thing. Like it is smart. And I think the commentary, explained it to an extent, but it didn't actually play anything into the match. So it was there, but it also wasn't there.
Yeah, the main thing that played into the match was the no rope breaks, which I love, by the way, that being the thing, and the 20 count, because you got all three of House of Black getting the other three in submissions one by one. Most awesomely when Brody King just appeared from out of nowhere and I can't remember, just got someone by the neck.
Buddy Matthews using Rhea Ripley's submission as well.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
very good. Cool. They changed the lighting somewhat. This is the second time they've done this, and a lot of people were critical of how dark the audience was lit. I didn't mind it. I thought it made it atmospheric. But they've done it with a sort of scattered dappling of light effect. So it's nice to see them refine and listen to feedback.
Yeah.
Blackpool Combat Club promo from the locker room.
This was great. This was such a good promo. This is just one of those promos that made me so excited to see a wrestling match.
It's mostly Danielson and Mox. But more Mox, really. Just saying nobody's better in the world at wrestling than them. They're the professionals. The elite are amateurs.
the way that Mox delivers promos is unlike anyone else. I think he's a real natural at it. I think he's so damn good.
Yeah.
And he makes me want to see him wrestle and want to see them wrestle the other guys. So it's my most anticipated match of Double or Nothing. I'm so excited for Anarchy in the Arena, and this pushed my hype levels up even further.
I'm really looking forward to Double or Nothing. Usually I get the dread of the length of the show, and it'll still be long, but I'm just excited now. MJF came out awesomely, went over to the commentary desk, sipped a bit of Tony Schiavone's drink, then chucked it over him. Yuck. And he came down, cut a promo, said Jungle Boy. He wants Jungle Boy to be thrown in an echo chamber so he can bore himself to death. It's a rough thing for the heel to say truth part.
It is. What I liked about this as a promo segment, which I'll be honest was not a lot. I don't think this was an effective go-home segment in terms of building the four pillars match. But the one thing I did like about it was MJF is very good at doing what you should do in promos, which is you bury your opponent in saying that I am better than them, while at the same time putting them over massively so they are on your level. Because the way that veterans will explain to you, if you go out there and just say, well, you suck, and then you beat them, it's like, well, who did you beat then? A guy that sucked. But if you'll be like, but you are on my level and then I beat you, that puts me up onto the next stage. So I thought he did that very well, because he did rag on all three of them and made fun of them, but then said, these are homegrown stars that didn't get here without cheat codes like everybody else did. And really sort of about how we're not just part of AEW, we are AEW.
Great line.
This was MJF saying we are the pillars of this. MJF's like, oh no, I'm not one of these pillars, this and the other. But remember, he was saying we are the four pillars of this promotion. But then snaps into the character being like, but I don't want to be part of this.
I'm bored.
And hey, look, my contract is coming up. Oh, you don't like it when I talk about my contract? Tony certainly doesn't. And wasn't it a coincidence that my contract is going to be coming up soon, and he puts me in a 4-way match where I don't have to be pinned to lose the title? I sort of putting himself in the victim role here. I thought it was a very, very good promo, but he was the best thing about this. Actually, that's unfair, because I thought Darby was really good.
Of course, Max did not bring up or name drop the other Khan, his friend Paul, his friend Cody, any reference to WWE, which usually he does do a lot of. So I do think wisely they're just making it MJF's against the company of AEW, as opposed to MJF wants to leave for WWE.
Yeah.
Which is, And I think he's definitely re-signed.
100%.
I think it's a great story, though.
Yeah.
Darby came out. He sort of told his babyface life story, and then he said maybe he'd beat Max with a headlock takeover. Mentioned climbing Everest as well.
Yes, which he wants to do. Is it this year or is it next year?
I think it's next year.
Yeah. I don't think he got an amazing reaction. This wasn't a great crowd all night. This kind of reminded me of the Pennsylvania crowd that we had on Raw, which was just like, do you know there's wrestling on? There's good wrestling happening here. You should probably pay attention and wake up a little bit. But I thought the Darby was passionate. I think he is the best of the three in terms of the three challenges. Because Sammy's promo was and Jungle Boy's was But I thought Darby's actually had a bit of passion to it. You and I took a bit of flack last week in the comment
did we?
section. Yeah, because we said that the crowd didn't sound like they were into Sammy, but they according to the comments, the crowd was massively into Sammy.
Oh,
I didn't see that this week either.
No. So Max...
That's not exclusive to him.
Max just kicked Darby in the balls. Sammy ran down for the save. He's not a babyface. It's awkward. And then Max runs up the ramp. Jungle Boy's there, takes him out, poses with the belt. Everyone, 4 pillars. This felt like an angle for a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Not the go-home angle.
That's what I mean.
So they're just trying to keep it boiling as opposed to leveling it up.
Yeah, this was not the hot go-home angle that this feud needs.
Taya Valkyrie versus Lady Frost next. This was really just a match for Taya to get a win and some momentum on Dynamite for her TBS title shot against Jade Cargill. Lady Frost was impressive.
Lady Frost is great.
Yeah,
She's
so
really
she used to wrestle in Impact.
Yep.
Heard her name forever. I've seen her wrestle a few times.
She was one of the people that when NXT 2.0 began, she was rejected for NXT 2.0 because she was too old. I'll double check how old she is, but she was determined to be too old to be part of NXT 2.0.
Well, it was an interesting choice to put her in this, because then I'm like, oh, cool, Lady Frost looks good.
Yeah.
And then
she's 38.
But the point of this match was to give Taya the shine going into the Cargill match.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of like damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. A bit of catch-22, I suppose, because you do need to give Taya, the momentum going into this, but you don't want to because Lady Frost is doing stuff with Ring of Honor, and there's every chance that she is going to get the All Elite graphic soon. You don't want to completely just make her look like a loser. So the answer to that is don't put Lady Frost in this.
Yeah. But yeah, Taya won with the Road to Valhalla. Good storytelling, because that's the move she is now able to use in the title match of the pay-per-view. Jade was watching on the ramp as well. Tony Khan then got his announcement. They said like half an hour before this, up next, Tony Khan's going to have his announcement. There was a little graphic on the screen, and it wasn't up next. And I was like, has something gone wrong?
Uh-oh.
Oh my God. In the 3 minutes before that ad break,
yeah,
have they pulled it? And then it came here. It was the standard thing. He drew it out because he read off every single other place that Collision's going to take place in.
Including Regina.
South Carolina. I said that on my news today, and I've seen 2 comments go, a Bloodhound Gang reference.
I know. Well, on yesterday's news video, I said Collision in the style of Faith No More song Collision from King for a Day, and at least 2 people were like, I didn't think of that.
I recognize that thing. And I don't know about you, but I was genuinely nervous. I was sitting there, I was like, this was the most absorbed I've been in anything, and Tony Khan's not the best promo guy. So it was like that 20 seconds of him reading those place names, waiting for him to announce the venue of the debut episode. It's the United Center in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yes, come on. And the crowd went, yeah. Oh, wait. Boo.
You know what that means then. Look, I think he's going to get cheered in Chicago because he always will be. But hey, look, maybe I'm going fancy booking here. I want to put forward my pitch that I had when he first came back, which is you give him the Bret Hart role. He is a heel everywhere apart from Chicago.
The MJF role.
An MJF role, that's another good example. So you can get this babyface thing here, but then I think you will probably quite quickly need to turn him heel. Maybe just do the Joe Punk match on the first episode of Collision, where he will get cheered because, with Joe as the heel. But I think you may... I am so curious to see what the reaction to Punk is going to be. Because AEW is a hardcore audience. Probably 95% of the audience know what happened at All Out last year and have been keeping up with all of the shenanigans that have happened since. So they're going to know. And I wonder if it's going to split an audience. Maybe some people will love him, some people will hate him for it. I'm so fascinated to see what happens. Not on week 1, but week 2.
Yeah. I really don't know, because we've all been so preoccupied with will he come back that we haven't had time to address the next step of that, which is, do the audience want him back?
So Dave Meltzer has said that he is factored in for All In. What do you think a London crowd does for Punk?
Well, it's a much larger...
It's a larger thing, but we haven't had a Punk match in, even longer than, his lengthy absence that he had from professional wrestling.
If I had to put my money somewhere now, I'd say, well, it depends on what character he is.
That's it, yeah.
But I think we'd cheer him because we're a bunch of smarky smarks.
So he's a babyface in Chicago and London.
Yeah. But yes, very exciting. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe you're dreading it. The crowd did cheer and boo, and then they cut to the ad break.
Yeah.
I think that was tactfully placed. Because they should be, they know, they must be aware.
Yeah. As I said, it's week 2 is the reaction that I'm most curious by. If you missed it earlier, we will be doing reviews of Collision. We'll be doing them every Monday after the show has aired. Obviously, that will not be happening when there's AEW pay-per-view days, because those are on Sundays, which means we review the pay-per-views on the Mondays. But maybe we'll do like a little recap or something. But the first episode of Collision, we will be doing live stream reactions to. We're going to be watching the first episode of Collision, so we can give our reactions to Punk's return, and then we're doing a review of that directly afterwards.
Yeah, and I can not cry again.
Do you not think you'll cry this time?
I don't think so.
It's different this time.
Very different. Hangman Page is backstage talking to Alex Marvez. I don't know what he talked about. I was just thinking how goddamn cool he looks. He's got an eye patch.
He is quite Snake Plissken right now. He is a bit, yes, he looks like he wants to escape from New York. And I like to hear that he's like, I'm very good friends with Matt and Nick Jackson. I've never really been friends with Kenny, but we're family. Which I thought was a really, really nice line. And he said, he's always been family to me. And the Blackpool Combat Club have taken everything from us. They took my eye. They took Matt's arm. They even took Don from Kenny. So this Sunday, they're going to pay in blood. I'm sure Mox is thrilled by this.
I haven't bled for so long. We got the Jericho Cole contract signing that we've already covered.
Just one last thing on that segment, because I forgot to mention this earlier. When Sabu came out, remember that bit in The Simpsons when Homer is thinking about going to clown college and he's looking around the table and people are just saying normal things to him, but he's just seeing them all dressed as clowns. And like Marge goes like, "What's wrong, homie?" And then he stands up and is like, "That's it. I've had enough of you guys talking about me. I'm going to clown college." And he walks out and Bart goes, "Well, I don't think any of us expected him to say that." That's what I had with Sabu. Because I was like, it's Kyle O'Reilly, it's Bobby Fish. And then Sabu was like, I did not expect that.
Yeah. It was quite... Sabu brings a definite weird chaos. Because then they cut, after that sort of bit of his return, he's lobbing chairs, they cut to a Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm video package, very well done. They come back, and people are still sort of like the people in the ring are like, What's going on?
Was that meant to happen?
So is he going to throw any more chairs? So Garcia, because now we go into Daniel Garcia versus Roderick Strong, which for me is like that is mouth-watering. I don't feel like they had the match that they can. This felt like Strong won. I think won about 10 minutes. Strong won relatively easily, no big near-fall sequences, which I found confusing given how well they've built up Garcia in other matches.
Yeah. I think this is a victim of a bad crowd. I think the same thing happened on Raw with Nakamura and Balor. Like, the match was good, but a disinterested crowd sort of, and not feeling like this is as good of a match that these two probably should have. I think hurt this some way. For me, I only had two notable things about this outside of the crowd, which is that Strong won and he chopped Daniel Garcia in the knob.
And the Garcia dance.
Exactly. He was doing his dance and he turned around and Roderick Strong, just like he used to do in Reseda,
didn't have much heat.
Yeah.
Was a thing. Willow Nightingale got a video package because she is the New Japan Strong Women's Champion after Monet got injured.
I was going to say, but who was featured within this video package? Mercedes
Moné.
Yes,
yeah, of course.
Making her AEW debut, of course. I kid. No, I was teasing like, maybe we'll run with that as the lead. Shock AEW debut.
Well, it is interesting to see Mercedes Sasha Banks on AEW programming.
Referenced by name, no less, as well. They were not sort of hiding around that. And nor, you wouldn't expect them to either. They've got a very good relationship with New Japan and Bushiroad, and she is a Bushiroad talent. So, of course, they're going to reference it in the same way they would reference Ishii or Tanahashi and this and the other. So, but it was kind of, it was kind of cool to see Mercedes Moné as part of an AEW broadcast.
Felt right.
I thought this did a really good job for Willow Nightingale as well. I saw that Bully Ray thought this was a terrible segment.
What?
Because it only went 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess it could have gone longer. Could have had, But it was...
She came on. They showed her win. She said she won. She held up the belt. And what more do you want out of this?
Yeah. Well, hopefully she gets something after this.
Yeah. The rematch. It depends on how bad the injury is, I guess.
Well, I was saying within AEW.
Yes.
Because that's a New Japan Championship. We in the predictions video tomorrow, you'll hear a sort of fantasy book. Well, maybe that's how Willow Nightingale gets the shot at the TBS title. She's like, well, I'll put my belt on the line, Jade Cargill, if you put on yours.
That's the Forbidden Door match.
And the main event was the enormously fun. I loved this match. Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta representing the Blackpool Combat Club, taking on Lucha Bros, Rey Fenix, and Penta. Brilliant.
Very good match. Excellent match. Danielson was out on commentary, referred to Excalibur as Man in the Mask. Nice little Regal shout out there.
Oh, he said Regal's name directly.
He certainly did.
At one point after, I think Yuta bridged out or he got pile driven.
It was the pile driver.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what the Combat Club trains. It's how to twist your neck so you don't get hurt on these sorts of moves. My favorite thing about Danielson, though, is when Yuta had that lackadaisical cover. And Brian was very upset by this because that is not what the Combat Club do.
Even at the end, because the Bucks interfered, they cost Claudio and Yuta the match. Mox runs out, they chase the Bucks up out the stands. You can see Brian like yelling at Yuta. Like, what the hell are you doing there?
And I know Will Yuta puts his hands behind his back, ready to accept his punishment because he made he was the one that was pinned in the match. So Danielson is like, he's occupied with the Young Bucks because the finish of the match is that they went to hit the pile driver, the Lucha Bros did. Claudio was about to get in the ring to break it up, but the Young Bucks appeared from underneath the ring, held on to Claudio's legs so he couldn't get in, and that's what led to the finish. And then Danielson like throws off the headset, storms down. Matt and Nick run out, and Moxie's there cutting his promo. But Danielson, obviously occupied with that, but then straight onto Yuta to be like, "You made a mistake there. You should be a tag team champion now."
This was a great match. Like the styles mesh so well. Claudio looks like I've written here, a goddamn Terminator. Just like walking through people, strength moves, lariats. But this was an angle for about 4 weeks ago.
Correct.
3-4 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
I think right now, if you're doing this here, you have to do something bigger. And that is, well, Claudio and Yuta win the ROH Tag Team titles. Wow, what momentum they've got going in. Another giant brawl. Everyone freaking comes out. I don't know. It's just, I feel like you should have had last week's angle here.
I was waiting for Omega and Page to come out in this segment. I don't know, like, you know, ending with a big schmoz brawl is a bit of a cliched way to go off the air on your go-home show, but it is in keeping with the feud, and it is in keeping with the match that they're going to do on Sunday. You know, Excalibur screaming, "Can you imagine what's going to happen on Sunday at pay-per-view in Anarchy in the Arena?" As it stands, it's just Moxley cut a very good promo while Matt and Nick stood in the crowd. And that's cool, but it's not a hot go-home angle. I think that's kind of my feelings overall on this show. It was a good show, but it was not like a go-home show.
It was a just keeping stuff on the boil show.
Yeah, we're saving everything for Double or Nothing on Sunday, so don't exert yourself too much.
That's exactly my thoughts on it too. I did give this 80%, so 4 out of 5,
which is high. I would have given this. When I finished it, I thought to myself, that's a 3 out of 5 show, like almost standard Dynamite. But I think a lot of that's just leveled up by some of the very good wrestling on the show. And I did enjoy some of the segments on it, but this is kind of a 2.5 episode.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was a good episode of Dynamite, but considering it was also should be a go-home show for Dynamite, for me, that kind of takes it down a notch somewhat. Yeah.
Well, no poll today, so apologies you can't have your thoughts, but just take our thoughts instead.
Just spam it and just write down what you would have scored this out of 5.
I'm going to say a big thank you to our wonderful Pledgehammers on Patreon, our $25 a month or more backers, Stella Keller O'Brien.
And Marcus, he's got Sol Campbell. That's a football joke.
And, of course, our wonderful mods, who we wouldn't be able to do this without. So let's get some cheap modding pops in the comments. Andy.
CJ.
John.
Les.
Rob.
And, of course, because she never writes her name down in this list, the mod mother, Jenna. Thank you all.
Cheap pops. Woo! Yes, they are responsible for keeping the chat nice.
They keep you lot in check.
Right, let's do last call for OmegaChats on the AEW Dynamite. We have Graham Shaw. Battle Royal prediction. It opens up with Orange getting the Andre spot. Everyone gangs up to eliminate him, ensuring a new champ. Half prediction. If MJF loses, it's to the real best Beatle from his analogy, John Darby. And please let this be the last JJ match. JJ? Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett, yeah. Lots to unpack there. I don't think Cassidy is losing that battle royal. I don't think MJF is going to lose either. But also, I think that, and I don't want this to be JJ's last match because obviously he's so great. Ain't he great, you might ask? Is John the best Beatle, though?
No, Paul is.
I always thought it was George.
You are just beyond contrarian.
What do you mean?
Sometimes.
It's not contrarian. He's got he wrote all of my favourite tracks. Here Comes the Sun, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I think those are arguably two of the best Beatles songs, and they're Harrison songs.
I mean, the best songs are the co-authored McCartney-Lennon ones, or Lennon-McCartney, depending on which side you're on.
Well, I know it is officially Lennon-McCartney.
Yeah.
But which is, I don't think Paul's particularly happy.
That's why it said McCartney-Lennon.
I don't think Paul's particularly happy about that these days.
Yeah.
I also think did he have the best run afterwards?
Yes.
I mean, well, Wings, they're only the band the Beatles could have been.
What was I listening? Coming up. It's a great song.
But is it George good, though?
Yes. Okay, we've had another person whose name has been missed off. Please tell the mods what it is, and we'll aim to shout you out. Hi, lads. Hate to admit it, but Luke's right. I'm looking forward to the tag title match more than the 4-way world title. Let's go, JJ. P.S. Sorry, I won't be at the watch-along. I have a wedding to attend, but could get cancelled. Lol, jam that jam. Let's hope.
Let's hope they pull out of that.
E for Cassidy. I think they should have Justin Roberts announce the extra rule for the open house matches, kind of like they do with the Pure Titles rules. That's a good idea.
That's a really good idea, Aoife.
And that's all of our chats.
There is a little note here from the moderators that just says, this is from moderator John, Paul was the most talented, John was the best, George was the most underrated.
Yeah, I think that's fair. George was underrated, but still, when he's properly rated, it's underneath Paul. John, he's a little bit of a twat, isn't he?
I think in my rankings, I think it is George, Paul, John, and poor old Ringo.
Poor old, but he's just happy to be in the 4.
Not even the best drummer in the Beatles.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here today and for all your wonderful Omega chats. If you haven't already, please do subscribe because we've got loads of content this weekend.
We certainly do. Tomorrow, AEW Double or Nothing predictions. It's myself and Oliver Davis going through the card for Double or Nothing and giving our predictions. And you get to watch Ollie do Wrestle League live. So that's a good bit of fun.
Go over to WrestleTalk.com/WrestleLeague and you can sign up to Wrestle League for free as well.
And on Saturday, it is live from the Long Arm Pub and Brewery in Shoreditch. Our reactions to WWE Night of Champions. We're going to be raising money throughout that stream for women in sport. And we'll be holding. If you're there in attendance as well, we're going to be holding a raffle there, and all that money will be going to women in sport to win a replica Jam That Championship, which we will be signing there for you as well with a little personal message.
That is heavy to ship.
Yes, so we're going to hand it to the person in their live. Oh yeah, I'm not shipping. It's not open to all the ultra chatters.
Look, I'm into this whole charity thing, but that's a heavy package.
So that's going to be live on Saturday afternoon, actually, for you viewers, or morning in some cases for you Americans. And then there will be live reactions to AEW Double or Nothing over the weekend as well, including reviews of Clash of the Castle.
Night of the Champions.
Night of the Champions, but with myself and Oliver Davis, and a review of Double or Nothing on the Monday with Oliver Davis and The Truth, Dan Layton. So please do subscribe to the rest of the podcast because we've got a whole lot of content going up, and enable those notifications to know when we always go live.
We had so many plugs there. We've had 2 extra chats.
Whoa!
Ollie Rodriguez-Dolman. Personally feel like the fan reaction to Punk is going to further Punk to becoming more like Cena with a 50-50 split, which honestly might work in their favor of telling the story of his character. Would love if his chant became "Let's go Punk, CM sucks." What a 10-year arc that is.
I hadn't even considered what a split chant would sound like, but I kind of love that.
That's a really cool idea.
That's
Ollie.
really good.
And then Temruza, shout out to Cineworld. Hope they get back up, as Ross Tweddle would say, up the Cineworld. Also, Ollie, you say Sabu the same as Naboo in the Mighty Boosh. Can't wait for Double or Nothing. And for Punk being back. Well, that's a positive one.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's going to be on Double or Nothing.
No.
I think they'll save that for Collision. We've got another one that's just come in. John Wick 1GM said, would love it if Darby won the belt and lost it back to MJF at the next pay-per-view to keep up the story that he doesn't hold belts long. Plus, I kind of want MJF to lose and regain the title so he can just rack up title reigns.
No, that's a WWE way of thinking. We don't rack up title reigns. We have quality over quantity.
I agree.
Well, thank you very much. Please go and watch the WrestleTalk News over on the other channel or the Night of Champions predictions that's on here right now. I've been Ollie Davis, Luke and DAD. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam.